my God.
Oh my God.
They built connections with nothing but text messages, fell for words before faces, and then, just like that, moved in with someone they barely knew. But what happens when the person you didn't choose shows up anyway? This is what we have been watching for the last 8 weeks. I'm Emma.
I'm Moira.
And we are What She Said. Now, if you haven't been watching, we can catch you up. You can go check out our podcasts that break down Stan's reality TV series, Love Triangle. Before we get into it, I want you to just take a minute and go and hit that subscribe button. It's free for you and it means a lot to us. Benny's our scrub, baby. Marissa and Jazz are free. He cheated Chloe out of an opportunity with the V from the E. Bunny's such a fuck boy. This is what she said.
Well done. Well done. Talents are not wasted. He is an F-boy. That is what we've learned.
Yes, absolutely. Breaking hearts left, right, and center. So this isn't your average reunion. This is the Love Triangle showdown we've all been waiting for. Put your gloves on, Moira, and let's get ready to rumble.
I'm ready for it.
So we're just going to get straight into it. Chrishell, the host of the reunion.
Donner. Isn't she gorgeous?
Yeah, her dress kind of did look a little bit like a mirror ball, though.
Did you
get those vibes?
I did, yeah. Those mosaic tile things that you see your grandparents make, and they're all mirrored ones. Yeah, that's exactly what I had in my head. She looks fabulous, though.
Absolutely. So she just jumped straight into Mike. She asked Mike, did he regret or did he enjoy coming onto the show?
He said he didn't regret. He had moments.
He enjoyed it and he was glad to come on the show.
Yes, which is where it shot to Melissa and she was like, oh, what?
I know.
This was fun for you?
I know. I was like, when he said, it's been spicy, I'm like, are we watching the same show, Mike? Like, is this spicy to you? Like...
Yes, the bits that we didn't get to see, I'm sure they were spicy because we didn't get to see those bits.
We didn't get to see them.
I thought he was referring to the altercation with Melinda when he said spicy.
Spicy, not sexy.
Not sexy, spicy. Spicy
not
as in
sexy.
Holy shit.
He said that it was emotional and a bit exhausting as well. So I probably get that more than spicy, but...
Yeah, and he also said that he thought there was a lingering resentment from Melinda, who was the first person and the one that he actually chose. And I'm thinking, I'm sure there was, after you brought up the fact that you were on maps. And you almost wanted her to recognize you and know that information about you. And then when she did find out that information about you, then you were like, well, why have you got such an attitude about me?
And everyone else kind of laughed when they played that moment back.
Yeah,
I think he was
funny.
even embarrassed.
Yeah.
Do you think he was embarrassed or do you think he's like, this is me. I'm famous for maths.
I think he loves it. I think he's hoping there's going to be like a golden bachelor or something he can apply for.
Ooh, I would probably watch that to see how shitty.
I would absolutely watch that.
I don't need a lecture.
Yeah,
I don't need another mother.
Don't try to change me, accept me as I am.
That would be a good show.
Yeah, and look, Melinda says she regrets not leaving sooner. That was her only regret on the show, which, I mean, I don't think you could have left any sooner. And I thought it was interesting when Chrishell asked, was he able to take some ownership over the comments from, the ladies have been saying, and simply, he said, no. I don't accept them.
And he'd been called out by a lot of people. He'd been called out by both Melissa and Melinda, Chrishell and Chloe. He's never going to learn.
Oh, he's never wrong.
No, that's right.
He wasn't wrong on maths and he's not wrong on Love Triangle. Everyone else is wrong.
I thought it was really mean of Mike, again, putting his foot in it, when he said, I've dated single mums before, and they're usually kind and caring, referring to Melinda. I do agree. I'd still stand by my she's a Karen, but...
It was a bit of a Dante comment. It was a different meaning behind it very poor delivery. I'm sure that that side of her would have come through had she have had the time to do so and him not be such an arrogant prick.
Mike said that she had a moral superiority with him from the start.
Yeah, I get what he's trying to say. I think what he's trying to say is that she thought that she was better than him, and I think she almost ran with that after the whole maths thing. When she went away and then did her digging, then came back and was like, well, actually, I'm better than you because you treat people like shit and I'm going to call you out for it. And I have no doubt as soon as she found out about him, she would have called all of her friends and was like, guess who I just went on a date with? Right. And they were like, oh my God, you need to do this and you need to say that. People will
Yeah.
love you for it. People just want to move on. Some people didn't even know anything about him and didn't care.
Yeah, that's right. Melinda backed Melissa and said that Mike's just been playing the villain the whole time. And when people actually call him on it, that he was taking zero responsibility, which we saw for his actions, and he'd go into victim mode.
Yeah, I think he does play the victim a lot. And I think I touched on this a few episodes ago about him constantly being in a battle mentality. It's not like a fight or flight, it's just fight.
How horrible would that be, though, to be fighting every day?
To feel that way, even.
Yeah.
Because even if that's not a reality, that's his reality in his head. And to feel like that would be a really tough way to live every day. You almost have to have a very good facade put up, which is essentially, I guess, probably what's going on with him.
That kind of explains him a little bit more if we were to delve deeper, which we're not going to. So we're going to move on to Peyton and Jordan.
Oh my God, Peyton, Jordan, and Dante. Well. So Peyton and Jordan have confirmed that they are still together. They are both confirmed that they are official and they are doing long distance because Jordan lives in Brisbane and Peyton lives in Coffs Harbour.
It's 4 hours. That's not long.
There you go. I mean, I don't know that I'd be traveling 4 hours for someone.
Well, we used to drive from Athlone to Belfast 4 hours just for shits and giggles.
That was for a fun weekend, and we had each other for company.
Well, I'm sure Peyton and Jordan will be having fun weekends when they travel that distance too.
Well, that's a question that didn't get asked. Missed opportunity there, Chrishell, for some deep dive. I thought it was cute that Dante said that he was really happy for them and that he had love for both of them and he wants to be at the wedding. And I thought that was really cute that he thought it was going to make it that far. He is definitely living in Delulu land.
I was wondering, Dante's actually turned out to be not a bad guy.
No creepy vibes at this one?
I think he actually got more satisfaction because he was validated by his maturity and readiness by Chrishell and other people in this reunion. And probably Jordan was picked on a little bit, which, I mean, he should have been.
Every right to.
I think it was cute that and we saw this in the last episode, that they all said they'll miss each other.
Yeah, I think.
And then he came out in the reunion and said that he has love for both Jordan and Peyton. So
yes. And in that moment, I thought, I wonder if this is how polyamorous relationships start. Accidentally, they fall into it.
Do you think?
Yeah.
They just fall into it.
Well, I don't know how else it starts, but I was just like, oh, how cute that he was just like, I miss you guys, I love you guys. I was like, something tells me that if they had said, look,
let's do a triangle.
Me and you, mate, absolutely not happening. But if Peyton's okay for sharesies, we can all live happily together. I think he would have considered it.
Maybe that's where I was getting my creepy vibes from.
And I wonder if Jordan would have been like, yes, he would be the cook. He would clean. He'd provide the emotional support for her. And I could just be fun guy.
Fun guy. And Peyton gets her back scratched from 2 places.
Right? I wonder if this is how it starts. I loved that the video of their relationship. So they did like a montage of everyone's relationship before they started talking to them. And then the video montage stopped. And then he looked so smug with himself and then when it started rolling again, he was like, huh? And everyone was like, what's going on? Because no one said anything and it just started rolling again. Cut to him talking off camera, the conversation that got caught, that was him saying, I didn't ask for that. I couldn't do that. If I did that, I'd look like an effing idiot. I didn't realize that wasn't a camera guy he was talking to. It was Nuri. Nuri had been sitting on this information the whole time.
I know. See, if this was maths, that would have been spilt and everybody would have known about it. It would have been on the text chat.
How on earth did that not come out? How did he not tell Ari? Or did Ari know? And that's why or did Ari know? And that's why Ari said to Peyton about Dante, you should give him a second chance.
But then why wouldn't have Ari done girl code and said, hey, look, I probably shouldn't be telling you this because Nuri told me this in confidence, but
did Ari know?
Yeah, now that you've said it. When I found out it was Nuri, my mind was blown.
But so the montage stopped. Played a new video it came up with. First couples party, 1 a.m. And it was Jordan's off-camera conversation, and everyone's face was pure shock, disgust. They were appalled. And Nuri was smirking, and I was like, why is he smirking? He was like, I don't remember who I was talking to. And Chrishell said, you were talking to Nuri.
I thought, okay, 1 a.m., he could have been plastered. He didn't sound like he was slurring too much. Like, I would say maybe over a few hours, he might have only been 3 or 4 drinks in.
I would hazard a guess that there would be at least a limit on the drinks that you can have before you are so written off that what you say cannot be used because you're just slurring and mumbling.
Yeah.
I would think it's like a 6 drinks max kind of party. But I didn't realize that was Nuri. What a secret keeper.
I know.
You'd be trusting him in your secrets, wouldn't you?
You do. You want him on your side.
But I loved what Chrishell said, that just because someone has an opinion of you, that in no way shapes or forms what you're worth. It doesn't mean anything about what you are worth as a person. I thought that was really good. And how Chrishell called Jordan out on why he might have even continued this whole thing if he didn't have feelings for her. And she was like, I'm not seeing any fight for her. And he really didn't.
I was wondering that as well. But that kind of is relevant to the character that he's been the whole way through. He's pretty cool, calm, collected, like doesn't really have much go.
Is he a triple C or is he just lazy?
I think he's just lazy. And for him to say that he genuinely forgot, like didn't realize that he had said that, what he had said, I don't know. But I was also looking at their body language in that moment and neither of them budged. I feel like so kind of later on in the show, we figure out that it's about 2 weeks since they've gone off.
I think so, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, which isn't that long. But it seems like they're pretty solid at the moment, still in the last getting to know each other stage.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
I don't know whether she feels so low in herself that she would just run with it and see where it went with him, or whether she has that confidence in herself to know that she is worth so much better than someone who talks shit about her like that from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone on this show has said how shit dating is. They've done it, they've tried it, they've failed, they keep making the same mistakes. She could just be tired. I mean, I know she's only young, but, you know, you can only get treated poorly so many times before you go, is this what it's like? This guy's got so many other good qualities that I like. Maybe I just let this one slide.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I find out that someone had said that about me from the get-go and they weren't profusely apologizing, even to say, I can't apologize enough for the man I was when we first met. Even that is better than going, I don't think there's an apology I can say to make up for it. That's good, but that's not really feeling remorseful about what you've said.
Yeah.
And I guess actions speak louder than words in most instances, so he's got a lot of making up to do. But
well, I did notice, and I don't recall hearing this throughout the episodes. Do you hear Jordan very quickly say, Peyton's not really my type, but it doesn't matter at all because in the past it hasn't mattered either. Okay, this was the first week, this first party, that he was talking to Nuri about this. Do you know when people get together, sometimes they let their mouths run when they're trying to kind of show off to people? And that is an immature mentality, but Jordan's right there. So that's where he's at.
I give him this. He is allowed to change his mind, right?
Yeah.
Just as anyone is at any stage. I just think it's more about the accountability of saying I was a shit person. But what I've learned is that I do constantly judge on people's appearance, as do most people. This is how Tinder apps and things like that exist, right? Most people judge on appearance. And what he could have said is, the longer that I've got to know you, and I guess the whole point is that you stay in a relationship that you wouldn't normally stay in, is that I've really grown to, appreciate your personality. And because of that, I've become more attracted to you as a person. And I feel like that actually is more mature and is actually a better comment, because what you're learning from that is looks fade. We know this, right? Peyton at 25 is not going to look like Peyton at 70. Okay. So if their personalities complement each other and they have a really enjoyable time together, that's probably more of a basis for a longer lasting relationship than basing it off someone's appearance.
Yeah.
He is within his rights to basically change his mind and go, actually, I would tap that, my bad. We didn't see that from him.
No. And it would be interesting in another month or two if it comes out in social media that they're over.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. Chrishell's advice to Peyton was trust your gut, don't second guess it.
Yeah.
She obviously had an opinion on that relationship.
Absolutely.
So yeah, then they moved on to Ari and Nuri, the secret keeper. So Ari had said that obviously he went back to the Gold Coast, she went back to Melbourne, and their text messages grew more drawn out and further apart, and there was little effort coming in from Nuri. And he fully admitted that. He said, look, I already said I had a bad experience. I can't do long distance. So interestingly, though, he said Ari told him that she was looking to move to the Gold Coast within the next year.
Yeah.
So did she mean that, or was she trying to hook him?
It could have been a hook, but it could also be because Nuri said, but she's made it very clear that she's not moving for me. Like, it's for her. So I thought, okay, why do you move somewhere as a single person? It's either for work. What does she do for work?
I can't remember.
Idea. So it's either for work. Does she have family or friends there? She's never mentioned that before. So calling that a lie, because if she moves there, it is for him. Like, most people wouldn't just get up and move just because.
No, completely agree. But this again comes down to her story about how she wanted to be a mum. That came out at the very first episode, and then it was like, oh, I could wait 5 years. It's like, it's not the way it was coming across in your initial conversation.
That's a little furky.
So, yeah, look, I think if she found the right person in Melbourne who was ready to give her baby, she'd be like, yep, that's exactly what I want. I think the whole point is not to compromise on your wants and needs. There's someone out there, it's just a fucking minefield. Good luck to you all.
I think they'll shag that night, maybe the next day, whenever they fly back. Like, they'll be a couple until then, and then they'll separate, and they probably won't talk again.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Chloe, Beck, and Emma.
Interestingly, Chrishell introduced them as the queer couple. I don't know if I like the word queer. It makes it sound very indifferent and very... Maybe that's just because there's been a derogatory term for so long. Oh, that's queer. Like, that's weird. Like, that's different.
Yeah. That's
unusual. Like, I don't know. I don't know that me as a heterosexual person has any say in this matter, but I don't know if I like the term queer.
No, I was also taken back, but I mean, I don't keep up with what is appropriate and not appropriate.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
But yeah, thought it was interesting.
We've spoken about this before, that lesbian couples are notoriously known to stay good friends after there's been a breakup. So I mean, you could see there that the girls have been messaging each other in that time because they all seemed quite friendly and close
So
on the
yeah,
show.
so it came out that Chloe and Emma are just friends. So we saw that she didn't choose Emma and Beck
Mm,
left before Chloe got to have that final decision. But yeah,
yeah.
so they have apparently remained friends. Beck felt like she ruined the situation because she wanted to pursue it with Emma, and that's how she felt jealousy and felt like she had to remove herself from the situation. So that kind of explained why she left before the
Mm,
end of selection. They all seemed really friendly. So it seemed like it was left on good terms with all three of them, which was nice.
yeah. Yeah. Bernie, Marissa, and Jazz, that was a tough watch
Yeah.
the whole season.
Look, let's be honest, it's probably the most conversation that Jasmine's had with Bernie the whole season on that couch. And so
Mm,
again, the montage of their relationships came out, and the moment it finished, Chrishell made a point of saying, I want to kick it off with "You were beautiful, Jasmine," because it did seem like there was a lot of focus on her appearance.
yeah.
From Bernie saying, you know, look at her, look at me.
Yeah.
Um, and Marissa even saying, I don't feel threatened, which she
Um,
immediately apologized for the moment it stopped and was like, I'm really sorry. But I thought it was nice that Mike actually sat forward and said, You're
I
beautiful.
think he said
Like,
you're beautiful, yeah.
yeah, which I thought was really
Um,
nice.
and it just confuses me. He is such a complex person, Mike. Like every time he does something shit, he does something nice straight after, and it just fucks with my head.
I think he genuinely wants to be a nice guy. I think
Yeah.
he is just so on the defense.
Defense.
Yeah. But it was interesting watching Bernie view that montage back because he was almost commentating on his own comments. So he was like, "Oh, you stupid boy," and
I know.
shut the fuck up, bro." And then he was like,
I think he's just
"Wow." When he said, "I was expecting this one to be hot," he was like, "Wow." And even he was shocked at his own remarks. And yeah, that's when Mike reached forward and said, "You're beautiful," and rubbed her arm. Um, even if he didn't mean it, that was comforting in that moment for her. But I
yeah.
loved her point to him, which was that she said she didn't need his validation because his opinion didn't mean anything to her anyway. So I thought that was really strong of her. And
Mm.
I mean,
I
she
did
doesn't though. Like this is my whole point that I keep saying to people about if you don't see that person as being important in your life, then you shouldn't validate their opinions of you because you wouldn't take their advice or opinions anyway.
I did kind of understand though. I didn't in the moment when he said it. I mean, two plus two, look at me, look at her. I do understand when Chrishell questioned him on that, and he said what he meant, and he did make this comment throughout the episodes that Jasmine is all dolled up and he's more low key. So
Nope.
it
Nope.
could be
Bullshit.
nope
Bullshit. She showed up in yoga pants. And
with a full face, fake lashes,
so
crazy nails. I call that beyond self care. I call that dolled up. I would agree with him, but
mm-mm.
I mean, I would also call him a metro. He likes to look after himself as well. So,
No, I think by what he said, look at her and look at me. He thought he deserved better. He didn't even get to know her. Chrishell said, You have owned that you are part of the problem of modern dating and you base it all on looks. And he said, I do. I'm on the
mhm.
apps and I completely base my opinions on people on their looks. And this is the point of the experiment, why it was to get him to move past that. And so he didn't even get to
Mhm.
move past that to find out whether
No.
she was a nice person. He was just like, look at her, look at me. I deserve better than that.
And then he also defended that with that's what patterns are. They're hard to break. You keep making the same mistakes over and over. The heart.
Consciously aware of that,
That's
you
right.
can't make it as an excuse.
When you're aware of it, that's when you can change it. If you're not aware of it, I mean, how are you going to change it?
I think he was just trying to dig himself out of a hole. And he is another one that when backed into a corner attacks. So Uh, it was interesting though that he had mentioned through the montage that we watched back about how there was something that was holding him back, and Chrishell says,
Mm.
"Well, let's have a look at what that thing was that was holding you back." And then they run the moment that Bernie meets Chloe and the comments that he says to the camera. And
Yeah.
everyone's kind of looking like, what is going on here? Emma and Becca looking confused. Everyone is shocked. And then it shows you Bernie and Chloe kissing that night. Marissa just goes, you faffing twat.
Mm-hmm.
And Emma's just sitting there going, what the fuck is going on? And Beck's face is literally gobsmacked, and she's then starting to break down in tears.
Yeah, she
And
walks off in a panic attack. What the fuck? Why are you having a panic attack when you weren't even in the game anyway? I
yeah,
understand why Emma was a little bit upset.
I actually felt really sad for Emma when she said, I feel like a fool. And there's
Mm,
no worse feeling than feeling like you've been giving it your all and that you've been taken for a ride. You feel like a mug. Like, I
yeah,
really felt for her in that moment when she was like, I made sure at every dinner party that you were looked after, that you had food, that your wine glass was always full, and you're off out the back, passion on with Bernie. I felt for her in that moment because she really did have a lot of emotion behind that comment.
I mean, I know people make mistakes, but this sounds like a mistake that Bernie makes frequently.
I think Bernie is out for Bernie. I think that Bernie doesn't really care who he hurts on his path
Mm,
as long as he is pleasing Bernie. Yeah, so
good
Chloe
sentiment.
turns around to Emma and says, I did tell you that I was going to follow my heart on this, and that's what I did the whole way through. And the note meant nothing until the final dinner party. So I call bullshit
Mm,
on that because there was a
yeah,
whole spectacle about how she was tearing up about how that's all she ever wanted to hear was the comments that he had made in that note. So you can't
yeah.
say that the note meant nothing because it clearly
No,
did.
that's what started everything.
And then Beck obviously comes back and she just says that she feels like she's been lied to and she feels invalidated and now she's questioning everything. Fair comment, fair play to you.
Mm,
Also, though, you were trying to hook up with Emma. And then we hear Dante speak up to Chloe, the man of reason, and says, so Chloe, how do you reconcile how Bernie has been with his matches? Like, how do you navigate that? And she was like, oh, I thought it was disgusting.
we didn't know at that point, though, that they weren't still together. I mean, body language kind of told a story, but it
Yes,
wasn't until after that.
yes, Chrishell then asks, so I guess the question is, are you two still together? And Chloe
Mm,
then says, well, yeah, we've been hanging out, been getting to know each other. Bernie took me away for a long weekend. And
yeah,
then the night before the reunion, he then says, bye, it's not working. So clearly,
yeah.
Chloe put out on that weekend away.
That's what I was thinking. She's either really bad at shagging or he really is just a fuckboy, like Chrishell called.
He's just out for the chase.
That's the very definition of fuckboy.
Chrishell then speaks to Bernie and says, so how did this all come about? Why are you no longer together? And Chloe then says, he said we have a different sense of humor. And so he's then obviously back on what he said. Yeah, it's because we have a different sense of humor and he feels like he's holding himself back and he's trying to impress her so he isn't being himself. That's a you problem. That's a you
That,
problem. Michelle asks if it actually has anything to do with the art of the chase. And he says no. And we think yes.
yes.
And he said, if I don't feel anything for someone, why would I spend money on it? Money on it. I mean, come on, it's not property.
Yeah.
And she said, well, that's the playbook of a fuckboy.
Yeah.
All it is to do all that, buy all these things, to sleep with someone, and then move on to the next. Obviously, Chloe's devastated. And then Mike steps in, and Mike's like, nah, that's not what you said. You poured your
Mm-hmm.
heart out in that letter. And then Mike says, this is the thing I've noticed about you. You're never wrong. You hurt these two girls, you've hurt those two girls, and you can't take acknowledgement for the fact that you're a fuckboy. You snatched her up, you had your way with her, and last night you flicked her. And then he says, after what I've seen, mate, you're a scrub. You have redeemed yourself, Mike. This is why
Yeah.
you are good TV.
Yeah, you've gone out with a bang, buddy.
Mike TV has grown up and we love him. We love this version of Mike TV. Chloe's just not sure how she feels because this has literally all happened that last night.
Yeah, less than 12 hours. But Chloe needs to put her big girl pants on and say, well, he's fucked me over. So I don't want to have anything to do with him. It will be hard because she's just given up Emma, who was seemingly a great match. There was chemistry. She fucked that one up.
I think Chloe won't go back to Bernie because if Chloe can be so strong as to say, I deserve better because when you walked into this house, you saw two options instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not right. And I can't live with that. So she should not be strong enough to go, Bernie, you fucked it.
Yeah.
It literally is the art of the chase for him. Very similar to Jordan, who kept referring to this whole thing as a competition. Have we won? Have we won?
I am going to be interested. I think Bernie's going to be fucking on the dating scene like Mike until he's 50. I don't think he'll ever grow up.
I did enjoy how Chrishell ended it by saying at the end of the day, we're just all looking for that connection and nothing could be truer than that. And I think really through living through COVID as well, that's so true of today is that everyone just needs someone in their life that they can not just talk to, but physically touch as well. It's that comfort, it's that want of having someone there who's in your corner as well. I loved Chrishell. She was lovely. And Bernie did try to goad her a bit. And she held her own. She really did.
Yeah.
I did feel like it was a bit of an Oprah situation where there was not a lot of digging. And I wish there was a bit more digging. Like, so, hey, Jordan, Peyton, are you doing the deed?
Well, it just, the whole show fell kind of flat. Wasn't as hot and heavy as I thought it was going to be. And after Maths, I was really looking for that drama.
Same here. I did feel a lot of spice and intrigue at the beginning, and then it did kind of like fall flat. Yeah, and look, I wonder what the UK version is like because obviously different regions have different intensities. So, not that I am volunteering us to watch the UK version. I think I need a love triangle break.
Well, whether you think this season lived up to the love triangle hype or not, it doesn't matter because the experiment is officially over. Mike thinks his time on the show was spicy. Pretty sure the two Mels disagree. Peyton and Jordan may have been loved up in the beginning, but by the end of the reunion, Jordan's bombshell might have been sending Peyton home alone. Bernie fucked over not one, not two, but three girls during the experiment. And that little relationship that Chloe and Bernie decided to pursue lasted a whole 2 weeks. Emma was upset with the news. Beck had a panic attack, and Chrishell called Bernie a fuckboy. Ari and Nuri have seemingly fizzled out, but there maybe could possibly be talk about Ari moving to the Gold Coast. But to be clear, it's not for Nuri. There were some brutal truths, emotional reckonings, and a few moments that left us all speechless. And it's safe to say that the triangle just got a few extra sides. So that's it for season 3 of Love Triangle. Please like, follow, and share. You can listen to us over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. You can watch our shorts of our episodes over on social media pages. Or if you prefer to watch us and our reactions from the podcast, head over to our YouTube channel. Remember, hit that little bell on YouTube. This will subscribe you to us. It's free and it helps us out a lot. I'm Emma.
I'm Moira.
And we're what she said.
Bye.